and to bring you your fix of everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Two men who could seriously use an intervention. Your source of Habs talk, right from the rock. Right from the rock.
Hello, Canada, hockey fans, United States and Newfoundland.
Hockey Junkie and GK.
Okay, guys, welcome to Season 2, Episode number 5 of the Fix Podcast. My name is Matt, also known as Hockey Junkie, and joining me today is Garry. What's going on?
This is, man. How are you?
Living the dream, having a good time, like usual.
Same old, same old.
Trying to have a good time. I was at the Christmas concert there tonight. It was a pretty good time. The kids were involved.
Everything you thought it would be?
Oh, man, they're just goons. Goons. Pure goons, but it's funny though, eh? Like,
oh, yeah.
Always funny, man.
It's always entertaining.
It is almost as entertaining as the Canadians have been lately.
That's a low bar.
Yeah, that's sitting there pretty bad. Garry, right away, man, I got to dive right into it. We're going to get this Xhekaj shit out of the way early on. A couple of weeks ago, since the last podcast, Arber Xhekaj was sent down to the Laval Rocket. I was pissed off. A lot of fans were probably pissed off. I assume they were. I mean, Xhekaj's a fan favorite, right? So, obviously, it's a bit of a sensitive subject right away. What were your thoughts on this? I mean, when you look at it from the big picture, like, he got injured, he came back. A lot of people were saying it was a conditioning stint. I called bullshit on that early. I kind of got called out on it. A lot of people thought it was, but I don't know. It just feels more to me like they're just trying to develop a particular part of his game better, and that's why he's been sent down. How do you feel about it all?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's a lot of attention being focused on it, and I don't know if it's a big a deal as everyone is making it out to be. I mean, he got injured, yes, no doubt about that, and he came back. They sent him down to Laval. They didn't have to call it a conditioning stint because he doesn't have to clear waivers to go down to Laval. So if he had to have to clear waivers to go to Laval, they would have had to label it a conditioning stint in order to send him down. But he didn't, so they didn't have to do that. Now, still doesn't mean it is a conditioning stint for sure, but it still could have been. And then you look at it the other way, and you got Jayden Struble got called up, and everyone is playing fairly well at the time. He's only been in the league for one season. He got injured early or towards the end of the last season. So it's not like he's a veteran who is, guaranteed his spot. So you got Struble playing well. You got some of these other young guys who are playing well. And so he's in Laval, and he'll be the next man up. There's no doubt in my mind that he'll be the next man up. When you look at like all this, so Marty doesn't like the way he plays, and he wants him to change, wants a bunch of different stuff to happen. I mean, Arber Xhekaj, till the moment he got injured, was playing the same minutes he'd been playing all year. He was playing well. He had a good underlying statistics. His game was moving forward. He wasn't fighting maybe as much as he had been, but he was aggressive, I thought. And then he gets sent to Laval, and all of a sudden Marty doesn't like him, and he wants him to change his game, and there's lots of rumors floating around. But I don't know. To me, there's a lot of smoke. I don't see a lot of fire. He hasn't been playing well since he's been in Laval, or at least this first game that he was there, he kind of didn't play like himself. Maybe it's just a little bit of time to adapt. So I think he'll be the next man up, and 3 games later, this whole Laval foray will be forgotten, and we'll be moving forward again. That's my thoughts on it.
First game was rough down in Laval.
Yeah.
It was. I watched all 3 of them.
I haven't heard much about his subsequent games.
No, like the first game was rough, but I guess he was just coming back from an injury too, right? It was his first game back, so I mean, obviously he's going to be finding his legs again, and just getting back into the swing of things, I guess. But game number 2 and game number 3 looked a lot better. He picked up points. I felt like the last game he looked wicked, like vintage Xhekaj, like what we're used to seeing. Putting on a show in the offensive zone. I was fine with his game this last game. But I mean, just like you said, man, as long as, he's just down there to develop and give some other kids a chance, I mean, I'm fine with that. But there is some games where I felt like, you need him. A good example is the game against Buffalo. that game felt like it was a little bit, I mean, yeah, they come out of it unscathed. Nobody got injured or anything, but I mean, watching Juraj Slafkovsky with his mitts off for the first time, yeah, it's cool. I mean, he showed a different side of his game, but do you really want to see your first overall pick dropping the mitts all the time or feeling obligated to drop the mitts? Not really. No. I mean, he's big. Yeah, he is big, but I was thinking like, okay, so Owen Power is big too, right? First overall pick, Sabres. Imagine if Josh Anderson just grabbed Owen Power and started beating the wheels off him. You know what I mean?
I don't want Juraj Slafkovsky to be fighting, every second or third game. I don't want him to feel like he needs to be Jerome McGinley out on the ice out there, and do kind of a bit of everything. But I don't have any issue with him being willing to do that. Like, you look at, and we'll go to like Austin Matthews sometimes, and people get him riled up. He got that stupid shit-eating grin on his face, and it's just like he looks like a fool. And I'd much sooner have a guy. Well, no, I much sooner have a guy who score 50 goals, but who's willing to put himself out there and willing to kind of take things into his own hands if he has to. And I do think, like I said, that if Arber Xhekaj's in the lineup, does that happen? Probably not. It probably doesn't happen, and you're right in that respect. But Struble's there, and Pezzetta's there, and I know neither one of those are in the same weight class, but, if he's out of the lineup, then someone else has got to step in and take that role. It's got to be a team. It's got to be a team toughness, There's got to be more than just one guy who sets that tone all the time. And like you said, I mean, when he got sent down, he had that one bad game. I mean, It was one of the big guys. It was either Arpon Basu or Mark Dumont had an article written up like the next day about how it was like just the worst game ever, and he was totally disengaged and everything. And it was like, it's one AHL game after he's been out for 6 weeks, and you're drawing all these conclusions about his game and about what he's been told to do. And I'm just thinking like, to me, it's a bit weak. It's not a big sample size to make those kind of assumptions. And like I said, I hadn't seen that meekness, I'll call it, in his game in the NHL up until the point he got injured. So I don't know where that would have came from, you know what I mean? I think, like you said, I haven't watched the last 2 games, but I mean, I trust you more than I trust anybody else to watch and give a valid evaluation of it. To me, if he's playing more and more like himself over the last couple of games, then that makes sense. The guy just came back off another injury. Takes some time to get your feet back on it. You can feel comfortable to engage like you engaged beforehand. I don't have an issue with it. The way Montreal's injury history goes, he'll be back in the lineup by the end of... Wow. We'll touch back on the beer bet of the week, and that'll play a role in it later on.
Oh, yeah, man. No, for sure. And so Xhekaj gets sent down to the AHL. Who comes up? Jayden Struble comes up. I don't know if you listened to Kent Hughes' interview on the Sick podcast yesterday.
Yeah, I see parts of it.
Yeah, and Hughes was saying that, he calls up Struble, he phones him, and he says, I'm calling you up. You're going to travel with the team. You're probably not going to get to play, but you're going to get a sniff of what it's like to be a pro and all this good stuff, And Jordan Harris's injury turns out to be worse than expected. Boom. All of a sudden, Jayden Struble's in the lineup. He's been in there for 10 games now. He's got a goal and an assist. And man, it feels weird to say, but Jordan Harris is expected to be back in a couple of weeks as well, man. And I don't even know how you take Jayden Struble out of the lineup with the way that he's been playing. I just can't see it happening. He's been that good.
He's been really solid, hasn't he? And he brings that different kind of more aggressive, more aggressive presence down low, more physical presence down low than Harris brings for sure. So it's interesting. And that's what you say, like, when you talk about Xhekaj being down in Laval, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, how do you not reward the way that Struble's playing right now? Like, how do you look at him and say, you know what, you're playing excellent, but we're going to send you back down because we're going to bring this other guy up? Like I said, if he was a 10-year vet, then maybe you would do that. But Arber Xhekaj, as near and dear to my heart as he is, and, we love him here on the Fix podcast, but he's not that yet. So he's got to earn his spot back, and Struble's, he's having a little run right now. And at the end of the day, he's an asset. We're loaded on the back end. You had a graphic up on your last YouTube video that was just showing like all the young defensemen that we have in the roster right now and who might be coming. In Lane Hudson, Adam Enstrom, Ryan Bacher, Moyu, and it's just like some of these guys are going to move. So, putting Struble out there, and I'm not saying I want to trade Jayden Struble or Jayden Struble, don't get me wrong, but it's building up his value even more. If you were to trade him today as opposed to, a month ago, he's got a hell of a lot more value right now than he had a month ago because he's got 10 games of experience and he showed he can play. It's not maybe this kid can play in the NHL. It's geez, this guy can play in the NHL and he can play maybe, middle 6 minutes in the NHL and add some physicality. So his value has gone way up if you were going to trade him over this last 30 days. So, there's value in that as well. Yeah.
And it's weird, though, because, a month ago, if somebody would have traded, if the Canadiens traded Jayden Struble, yeah, it sucks, but I don't feel like anybody's going to get mad, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But today, man, this is messing with my mind. I'm really frigged up, man.
We did the this and that. Was that our last episode? We're we just trade this guy, that guy. And we had this conversation about how Harris and Struble get kind of put up against each other all the time. And then I'm watching your video today, and I'm like, he did it himself.
I did, man. And I'm so messed up. I am. Because, man, I would have. This is off 10 games. He's won me over completely within 10 games. I would 100% move Jordan Harris before I'd even consider moving Struble at this point. Man, that guy's a beast right now. He's.
And the thing is, like I just said about the 10 games of experience increase in Struble's value to other teams, but it also allows Montreal to know what they have in him. And then if you do want a move with Jordan Harris, then that becomes an easier decision to make, that, you can move on from him knowing that it's not just maybe Struble can come in and fill that role, but to a certain extent, as much as you can off a 10-game sample size, that he can come in and fill that role. And we say 10-game sample size, it's been 10 games in the NHL, but he's been playing well in Laval all season. That's why he got this opportunity. So, just having him there, it builds value in the core and what assets you can reap from that, whether it be his value going up and moving him for an asset, or him making Harris more expendable and you being more comfortable to move Harris also to bring in assets. So it's interesting.
You know what, though? I'm glad that I'm not the one that's got to make these decisions, man. Because, I'm looking at Lane Hutson possibly coming in at the end of the season. We've been talking about it. Kent Hughes spoke about it yesterday. He was saying that as soon as Boston's season is over, he's going to try and get him signed ASAP. And you know how it works, man. Lane Hutson's going to want to play in the NHL. He's going to want to get a couple of games in. And I just don't want to be the guy making decisions heading into next season. Obviously, Lane Hutson's going to be a big deal. He is. Maybe he does get sent down and start the season in the AHL next season, but there's a lot of tough decisions to be made, man. A lot of them, man. And there's two veterans. You got Mike Matheson, David Savard. Do you get rid of your only veterans on the team? You could consider Honda Civic a bit of a veteran, but when it comes to games played and NHL experience, it's really just Mike Matheson and David Savard. And do you really want to give up two of them to let the young kids play? Young kids,
yeah.
It's, oh man, I'm getting, I got to take a Tylenol. Just one sec, you go ahead.
Well, I think too, obviously Hughes at some point, there's going to be a decision he's going to have to make. But it might also be a little bit of, what is this team that comes knocking, what are they looking for? It might not be, well, we want to give you this guy. A team is going to come eventually looking for one of these specific guys. It's going to be, we want Jordan Harris because we like the qualities he brings. We like his puck movement. We like his smarts. We like his offensive upside. And then in that case, maybe he's the guy that moves. Or there's a team that comes and says, we like Struble. We like the way he skates. He's a beautiful skater. He's very physical. He plays that rough tumble game that we want. That's the guy we want in this package. And then he can give that up because he's got Arber Xhekaj and he's got Jordan Harris there. So I think at some point someone's going to come looking for one of these guys, and it's going to be a matter of, is Hughes willing to move on from that player, take that risk to bolster another part of the lineup, and it's going to be interesting to see who people come knocking looking for.
It is, man. And when I look at the left side, I'm wondering if Mike Matheson could bring back a decent return. Like, even this season. I see his name. I don't know if you looked at TSN's trade bait board.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's, he's listed on there. I think he was like number 19 or something like that. He was tossed on there anyway. So, I mean, obviously it's mostly just smoke. But still, like, there's a conversation to be had. Mike Matheson is putting up points, man. He's putting up some decent points. Last season, he put up a pile of points.
Yeah, he's been consistent over the last 2 seasons. I mean, we always say, like, you don't get anything for nothing. So, like, Mike Matheson's probably got the most outright value of any defenseman we've got. He's got offense, he skates, he plays relatively big minutes. I mean, there's one point there. I mean, you can even argue now he's our number 1 defenseman. So if you're going to get a bigger return, then obviously he's going to get it for you. You just got to look at your team and say, is he going to play a role in 2 years when we want to become competitive? Are we going to look at our lineup 2 years from now and say, we'd be a better hockey team if we had Mike Matheson still, and then kick yourself for moving him, depending on what the return was, So, I mean, to me, if you're moving Mike Matheson, you got to hope that there is either like a super high draft pick coming back or a young offensive piece coming back. Like that's Montreal's biggest gap in their lineup is where's the offense coming from? Caufield potentially not producing to his potential this year. If that becomes the rule instead of the exception to the rule, then Montreal's rebuild is taking a nosedive because we just lost a 40-goal scorer and we don't have another one. So, I mean, like, and I'm not saying I think that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, that's how fragile Montreal's offense is. So we need more pieces. So if you can move Mike Matheson and bring back a piece like that, I think he's the most likely to get you that. I don't think even Struble or Harris, you're not getting a potential high-scoring offensive player, offensive prospect for those guys. I don't think you would. No,
it would probably have to be a bigger package.
Yes,
to make it work. But yeah, you're right about Matheson. Value. He's got lots of value. I'm pretty certain he does. But yeah, man, going on to Cole Caufield, what's been going on? Like, I listened a bit to Eric Ingles yesterday, and he said something that kind of caught me off guard. This was on the Sick podcast with Tony Marinaro a couple of days ago. But anyway, here's what he said, and I want to ask you because you obviously got a background in this field, so I'm taking your word over Ingles. Like,
sure.
But he said that after a surgery like Cole Caufield just went through, his shoulder, he said it's scientifically proven his shoulder should be somewhat better than before, like better. And that just struck me funny because now I'm obviously I don't know anything, but like when I'm looking at it, like if you took a knife and jabbed it into my shoulder and just done some shit to it to try and fix stuff up, there's something wrong with that picture. Like, to me, I don't know how it could be better after that than before. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe it's going to be better than when it was injured, but. Yes.
No, you're not like, it's not like, what's that movie, Rookie of the Year, when the kid falls down, breaks his elbow, and then becomes like, the best pitcher in the world. It's not going to be that kind of scenario.
No, man.
To me, I think, no, his shoulder is not going to be more stable than a non-injured shoulder would be. Like, it wouldn't be. And you're absolutely right. I mean, and even if it at some point would be, which I don't think that it would be, it wouldn't be right now. You go through a surgery like that, no matter, if you're working out every single day, you have the best rehab in the world, it takes time to build muscle mass. It takes time to build strength. It takes time to build stability. And that stuff can't even start until a certain time after the surgery. A certain amount of healing takes place. It's a gradual process. So, his shoulder right now, could it be better than it was when he finished his season last year? Yeah, it could be better than that because obviously his season ended for a reason. Is it better than before his shoulder was dislocated initially? No, it wouldn't be. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, to me, it's not even, his shot power. It's just, his shooting percentage is like half of what it was last season. So it's just, he's hitting posts, he's gripping his stick a bit hard. He just came back from surgery. He just signed a big contract. There's got to be stuff in between his ears a little bit. And for me, I think it'll just click again. I think he'll go on a tear. It's not even the Josh Anderson thing where he just didn't have it. And, he goes on these, I won't call it lucky streaks, but he finds ways to score and he forgets how to score. Like Caufield's still doing a lot of the things that he was doing before. It's just the puck's not going in for him right now, and I think it soon will start going in for him again. I'm not worried about it from that perspective. It's just, well, I am a little bit worried about it, but you know what I mean. It's like I think he'll get his way out of it. Yeah,
man. And now I got to backtrack just a little bit because if I took what Eric Ingles said out of context at all, and I mean, well, I'm sorry, Eric, if you're like flipping your table listening to this.
I'm sure he is.
That's but that's what I'm pretty sure that's what he said anyway. Like that's what I heard. I don't know, but as for Caufield, yeah, man, you're right. It almost feels like it's more between his ears, and I mean, it's not like it's the first time that this has happened to him either. Like, you know what I mean? Like when Dominique Ducharme was the coach, man, I thought he was going to get a public lynching, man, over the Caufield not scoring. Everyone was blaming Dominique Ducharme.
I think Ducharme is like vindicated right now. He's like, see, it wasn't my fault after all.
Definitely, man. Like, I don't know if he's been texting Caufield or something and just having him on his mind, just making him not score, but
like Montreal's whole offensive structure is off this year. Like
it is. Kirby Doc's injury put a big wrench into it, and now Alex Newhook's as well. And I mean, nobody's seen Josh Anderson becoming Josh Drew Anderson either.
Right. So like, there's absolutely
it's a horrible situation.
There's no secondary threat at all. So he's going up against best defensive pairings. Suzuki has been playing closer to his ability and more creatively, obviously over the last 2 months of the season that he did in the first, but still maybe not. Him and Caufield obviously were separated and now they're back together, so maybe just taking a little bit of time to build that chemistry and flow back and get a consistent winger in Slafkovsky, because I thought that line, regardless of the points, has been doing a really good job of getting the puck in the offensive zone, controlling the play down low, getting their chances even if they're not capitalizing on them. So I think if they keep doing that and keep having a positive impact on the game and a positive possession percentage in the game and shots for percentage in the game, then eventually the goals are going to start going in, because those players are just too good for them not to go in. So I think it's a matter of just being a bit patient, and Marty St. Louis hasn't always shown that patience with Juraj Slafkovsky. He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt like some other players do. I just hope that he doesn't say, oh, this is not working, and move away from it again, because from my point of view, and I mean, I'm no professional obviously, but I think that line has been looking well, and I think that it allows some of the other lines to kind of fall into place nicely. So I think if you just let things settle for a little while, and don't panic, I think the offense will start moving in the right direction again. Still not going to blow the doors off of anybody, because we are missing some key pieces and we don't have a big lot of offensive firepower. But I think it will start to trend in the right direction again.
How about that goal the other night? Shootout winner in Buffalo. Juraj Slafkovsky, man, just turned into Chad Kofsky. What a move. Boom. You like that one?
Yeah, that was a beauty. He had a bit of swagger come back to the bench after that one, too. I thought,
oh, yeah.
I expected him, me and Al were talking before the last game. I said, Slafkovsky's going to score this game. You can mark it down, because he just had so much swagger after that shootout winner. I thought for sure he was going to put one in the back of the net last night.
Did you? You called it?
I did. Well, after that game, so the next game, he didn't score. But I thought for sure. I would have bet a lot on it. You would have fleeced me for some beers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Slafkovsky, that was a big game against Buffalo, though. Like you said, first fight, he didn't get killed. I mean, he didn't look like he really knew what he was doing. It's funny, too, because they interviewed him after the game, and he said that he did some practicing with Xhekaj, but when the mitts came off, he just kind of blacked it. And it's got to be what happens, though. To a lot of fighters like that, especially, when you're not, when it's not second nature, like you're not Chris Nolan and you're dropping the gloves for the 900th time in your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not a lot of strategy. It's just try not to get knocked out.
Yeah, and Connor Clifton too is he's done a lot more of that in his career. So I mean, at least he didn't he didn't get hurt. That's the big bonus. And then he goes out and scores the overtime, the shootout winner too. That was huge. Just he alone too, man. He's got some nice mitts. Holy shit,
he does. Yeah. So I mean, I like the way Slafkovsky's playing, and if he continues, I just wish the points would come. Like he's been working hard, he's been doing the right things, he's been putting himself in the right positions on the ice. His possession games look so much better. His controlling the puck down low looks so much better. He's protecting the puck with his body. He's finding players, and he's just not getting rewarded for it on a consistent basis.
It sucks.
It does. It sucks, because it's a lot of heat on him. And if Caufield's shooting percentage is where it was last year, Slafkovsky's probably got an extra 4 or 5 points at least right now. And then at least he's in the he's up in the double digits and all that stuff, and he's feeling a little bit better about his game. So I mean, I just hope that it starts going for him. That whole line, whether Montreal wins or loses, I hope that top line of Slafkovsky, Caufield, Suzuki starts to put up some points, because I mean, that's the future of the organization offensively. And if they can start clicking, I can start feeling a lot better about just life in general.
Oh yeah, me too, man. It would help, wouldn't it?
It would. It make me sleep better at night.
Same with Reinbacher. Like if Reinbacher just breaks into the league 2 years from now and just goes on a rampage, that would really help me out.
Yeah, mentally it'd be good for me, I think.
Speaking of the draft, 2024, like, are we still thinking middle of the pack, or with all these injuries now? I mean, I know me personally, with all the injuries now, I'm thinking the Canadiens are going to get a top 10 pick again.
Now, I had them finishing at 10, like 22nd last, anyways. Even without the injuries is where I had them to. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I had injuries taken into consideration when the season started, I don't know. But that's where I kind of had them vision finishing. I can see them following as far as, like, there's a couple teams that are below them right now that really probably aren't going to be. So I can see them finish as low as 7th last. That wouldn't surprise me.
That would be sick. That'd be pretty good. And hopefully, a couple of the big name defensemen, teams are tempted to take them early too. And maybe a good forward, a good juicy forward just falls in their laps. That'd be nice.
Be nice to get a nice juicy forward.
Or maybe they win the lottery, man.
Well, I mean, when you're in that territory, anything can happen. It happens.
Oh, a lottery would be sick.
Another thing I think we need to talk about too, and this is, like, as far as the draft goes, this is going to play a big impact on it as well. But the goaltending situation in Montreal right now is still so up in the air. And, like, there's a lot of talk about, Jake Allen being traded. Montembeault obviously signed his extension, so you got to feel like he's probably safe there now. And Cayden Primo is still just kind of there, and he's been playing better when he's gotten some looks. So, like, what are your thoughts on this situation right now? Like, what's an ideal scenario for you for how this works out moving forward? What do you see happening?
Originally, like, during the off season, I should say, like, I was fully on board with. I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in Cayden Primo. I didn't. I watched quite a few of his Laval games last season when I got the package. Every time he got caught up to the Habs, he looked like it was bad, wasn't it?
It was always bad.
Yeah, it was, man. But this season, he's kind of won me over a little bit. He's still young, and he's kind of making Jake Allen like the expendable one right now. Absolutely, like Jake Allen seems like the guy right now he's the odd one. He's the odd guy out right now. I just hope that they do it sooner rather than later, because watching three goaltenders like this is starting to get annoying. It's frustrating for me. I feel like we're not seeing Montembeault enough. And, I mean, Cayden Primo against the Sabres, he put up 40-something saves, man. That was insane. That was one of the best games of his career. And it's just a shame that he's only going to play a handful of games.
Well, to me, it's
not good.
No. To me, it's like the worst of both worlds, because, like, you're not focusing on winning, because none of your goalies can get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And you're not focusing on development, because you're not giving your younger guys time to play. So it's like there's zero upside to what's going on right now, other than necessity, obviously, because you don't want to lose Cayden Primo for nothing if you try to put him on waivers. I mean, you knew my take last season on Jake Allen. Like the guy, but I thought they should have moved him last year. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to be good, why have Allen stick around and be a little bit better? But, they didn't move him last year during the season. He had an excellent start to the season. They were carrying 3 goalies. There's a lot of teams looking for a goalie. I thought maybe you could have pulled the trigger sometime in the first month of the season when he was putting up, good numbers in all of his starts. That didn't happen either. And now everyone is kind of like, Montembeault signed and Primo is playing a little bit better. And everyone's like, well, yeah, obviously they're going to trade Jake Allen. But the problem is that Jake Allen has won in 6 games. In 6 starts. You know what I mean? He has put up good numbers, so his stock is as low as it's ever going to be right now. So essentially, you're going to give away Jake Allen if you trade him right now, which is, still, I think, probably the better solution moving forward, but kind of sucks when you look at, he started the season fantastic. You probably could have got a little bit more for him early on, and I know hindsight's 20/20, but, what do you do?
It is too bad, but at the same time, I'd trade him for peanuts now. Like, it's getting to that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, you kind of got to, right? You got to move on from him if someone's willing to take him and give you something back.
No, for sure. I got a messed up stat for you.
Hit me.
And I want you to hear it because I'm going to forget it. You know the way my brain works, Gary. It's not good. Mike Hoffman. Remember him?
Yeah.
Terrible flashbacks. Terrible. This is Nam for you. There's no Canadian player right now that's got more goals than Mike Hoffman. Let that soak in for a second.
I know. I saw that stat and I was like, I cringed. Maybe we need to start a San Jose podcast and just start chirping them.
Oh man, I realized that the other day. I was just looking up stats and I looked at Mike Hoffman's goals and I was like, gee, that's weird. I don't think Caufield's got more goals than that. Wait a minute. And then it all just hit me and I was like, oh shit, man. Mike Hoffman's on a heater. Like, I don't wish him back at all.
Oh God, no.
I never will. Like, he's gone now. Like, he's gone. He's tossed off the wharf. There's bricks tied to him. There's a barrel full of shit tied to him. Actually, that might keep him afloat though. No, just bricks.
Just bricks.
Just bricks.
Shit is buoyant.
But man, I don't miss it. But I'd like to see some more production though from the boys. Hopefully, I think when Caufield scores one again, he's just going to go on a heater. Like, I'm talking a hat trick one game, 2 goals the next game. Juraj Slafkovsky, like 5 assists. And everybody's going to be happy.
The last time he scored, I was kind of thinking that he was going to break out. And then he didn't. And I was like, all right, well, here we go. Well, the thing about Mike Hoffman that pisses me off more than anything else is, like, we're talking about Mike Hoffman, is where was that last year when we were trying to trade him?
I know, he's such a dick, man.
Even if Mike Hoffman had been scoring on pace for 30 goals last season, I still would have wanted him gone. But at least we would have got a return for him. Yeah,
I would have got something.
We had to give him away to get rid of him this year.
What a dick.
Like, it was a legendary move just to move on from him this offseason. And now he's over there putting up, he's on pace for, 25 goals or something. What a
now he's looking valuable all of a sudden.
A shipwreck. So, San Jose got him for beans, and they're probably going to turn around and get a second rounder back for him. I hate him even more. Or even more if he continues to score. Somebody's going to be...
Yeah.
Someone's going to take a fall on that sword, right? So that's a bit irritating for me. But no, I don't wish Mike Hoffman back. And I don't wish him any ill will either, really. I mean...
I don't know, man.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little. Someone's got to be a terrible person. It might as well be me and you. Come on. Freaking Mike Hoffman. Moving on. Moving on to some prospect news. World Juniors is coming up. Lane Hudson is going to be playing for the U.S. Man, U.S. is going to be dynamite too. Like, look out. They're going to be a wagon. And Lane Hudson's going to be getting a lot more minutes. No more Hughes. No more people in front of him. He's going to be the main magician. He's going to be it on the blue line. Who else? Owen Bick is coming back to Team Canada. He's the only returning guy. There's even rumblings about him possibly being a captain.
I think he'll be the captain.
Do you think so?
I think he will,
That'd be cool. That would be wicked, man. That's big news. And he's obviously going to play a way better role than last season when he was there. He just got kind of called up and, he looked good though in the games that he played, but this year could be a lot more better. And Philip Majara too, man. He's just tearing up the Ontario Hockey League. He's going to get a sniff. It's too bad Reinbacher's not going to be there. Didn't you have some intel on that, Gary? Didn't you reach out?
He plays for yeah. His people reach out to my people. Well, Austria lost their relegation round, right? So they end up relegated. So they're not in like Tier A anymore. So yeah. Even if he went to the World Juniors or like I guess the U20s, it would be like in Tier B. So
playing against Afghanistan and stuff. Oh, that sucks.
That's like Vincent's Roar also plays for Austria. He's not going to be there either for the same reason.
When are we ever going to get to see Reinbacher play?
I don't know, man. He's been playing better of late, though, hey?
Yeah, I've been on Hockey DB every day, just like hitting refresh buttons.
Just waiting
What do we got?
But no, man, like you said, Lane Hudson is going to play a much more prominent role. I think, like, anything can happen, obviously, but it wouldn't surprise me if Lane Hudson ends up being MVP of the tournament. Like,
that would be sick.
I think he's going to be that dynamic. It wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me if Owenbeck is the captain of the Canadian team, just because, I mean, he's the only guy coming back for one, which obviously plays a role. He also plays like a nice two-way game. You know, he's not going to be the guy who fills the net all the time, but he's even keel, he's responsible, you know, and he's got some offensive upside to him. So I think he's a good guy for some leadership on that team. He's got a little bit of NHL experience, you know, very little bit, but, you know, he's been to the show for at least a game, and I think they'll probably put a C on him, which I'd like to see. Phil Majara, I mean, he's just lighting it up in the OHL right now. I mean, he's playing fantastic, and to see him translate that into the World Juniors, playing against, you know, playing at that level is going to be interesting. 'Cause he had a really good tournament last year when Slovakia put up a really good showing as well. So, and Slovakia's got a nice little team there because I mean they got him and the kid Dvorsky is there. Dalibor. Well, Dumbledore and
Dumbledore Dvorsky.
Laval Dvorsky. Yeah, so I mean, I think they're going to have a decent team. It's going to be interesting to see. I feel like we're missing someone. Who are we missing when we're talking about World Juniors? I feel like there's another one somewhere along the way.
I didn't think so.
Maybe there's not.
I'm pretty sure that was it.
Maybe that's it. But yeah, Hudson for me is going to be, well, Team Canada obviously is going to be a highlight. Hudson for me is going to be, and then you get Celebrini there too, like the Celebrini Hudson thing. That's going to be interesting.
Future Hab Celebrini, might I add.
Hudson Celebrini connection. I'm not getting my hopes up at all for this year's draft.
Oh, I am.
No, I'm not. Last year ruined me, and the year before that.
Yeah, last year was bad.
Yeah, like I've been trying not to get on Tankathon and like hit it and see where I end up. Been trying not to do that.
If I said I wasn't there in the last 24 hours, I'd be lying.
Don't lie to me. All right. Here are the teams right now that are below Montreal in the standings. Yep. You tell me who you think is probably going to finish ahead of them. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So, Buffalo.
They're going to pass them off.
I think so, too. The Edmonton Oilers.
They're a wagon lately. McDavid's on fire. They're going to pass them off.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Sid the Kid's going to pass them off.
Calgary Flames.
Why does Calgary suck?
Like, they shouldn't suck that bad.
I know, man. I feel like they're going to pass them off, too.
Yeah. The Minnesota Wild.
That's a coin toss. I feel like that could be the team that's like one spot ahead of the Habs.
But I wouldn't bank on them passing them off.
No, me neither, no.
Seattle Kraken.
No, they're going to be lower, I think.
Right now, 4 points back.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Columbus Blue Jackets, probably safe to say
they're lower.
Ottawa Senators.
Now, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, right.
I was getting beaked all off season long, man, from Sens fans.
Oh, they were
supposed to be. Oh yeah, they had the cup in there. They were doubling down on it, man, playing on the parade route. Oh my God, it's hilarious. It is hilarious that the Sens are failing. Oh, it's awesome, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're going to pick it up. I really don't.
Right now, they are... Oh, here's the kicker for Ottawa. All right? So they're 5 points back of Montreal right now. But Montreal has got 6 games in hand.
Holy shit.
So Ottawa's only played 22 hockey games.
Yeah, okay, this just makes a little more sense. That definitely helps.
Yeah, so I think they'll pass them off.
I do too. I'm in that.
Anaheim
but
won't.
I don't think they're going to go. They're not going to make the playoffs, though. Just to make that clear.
Oh, no. That's what we said about Florida last year, remember that?
That's true, yeah. That sucked.
So, Anaheim won't, Chicago won't, and San Jose definitely won't. Man, Chicago's still, bottom 2, eh? They get imagine they get Celebrini.
Oh, that would suck.
I'll kick Gary Bettman in the nuts if Chicago gets Celebrini.
I'll kick him in the nuts right after.
All right, there we go.
Be a double whammy.
Right.
I'll stone cold stunner him after you kick him in the nuts.
See, this is why we work.
Yeah.
All right, so 5 teams passes off. We move up to 26th last and pick 7th.
That's right where we said earlier.
Yeah.
Man, are we good or what?
And we are good. I mean, was it ever in doubt, really?
Mike Hoffman begs to differ.
Just so you know,
But
there was no anyone listening to this, we didn't plan that in advance.
No, that's good though.
Yeah,
if they're finishing that low, it's bad to say that's good, but it's good.
Well, you don't want to be middle of the pack, man. Where are they two right now?
No, you don't.
Right now, they're picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th. You're picking 12th. I mean, anything can happen with the lottery, I know, but 12th? Yeah,
I know.
You're not getting it. You could get lucky, but when does Montreal get lucky late in the first round? Never.
No.
Doesn't happen.
I can't see it happening.
Cole Caufield was last time. Picked him 13th.
Yeah, I can't see the Canadians need a high pick this season. A high one. I'd like to see him, if they don't get Celebrini, there's that Lindstrom guy, man. What a beast. Then there's Cole Iserman. Who else? Demidov.
Yeah.
Demidov looked good too, especially early on. He got injured, but early on he looked really good.
Early on off,
yeah. Dumbledore Dvorsky.
Dumbledore Dvorsky. You can use that if you want. No, just not,
that's going to be
not trademark protected.
Grant McKeag's going to hate that one.
Yeah, he will. He probably. It seems like Perry McGuire would just jump on board with that and be like, his magical mittens. All right, what were we talking about earlier? We were going to say that I was talking about beer bet of the week. Oh, my beer bet of the week is that Arber Xhekaj will be back in the lineup with the Montreal Canadiens within the next
2 years.
7 seasons. No. In the next, I'm going to put it, next 10 days. So today is the 11th. Between now and the 21st of December, which is also the last day I'm working before Christmas. Glorious. Arber Xhekaj will be back in the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens. That's my prediction. Also, you lost the last beer bet of the week.
I did.
What was it again?
Caufield was going to be on the first line.
Right, Suzuki Caufield were going to be reunited. And they were, I don't even think it was like the next game they were reunited.
No, man, you're a dick. You outed our boy, Newhook. I'll totally blame that injury on you, remember?
Right, no, I do remember. Wasn't of all the players that I would have injured, it wouldn't have been the Newfie. I mean, come on, this is just a fact.
I don't know, man. I think you'd do anything for a beer. Newhook would understand that.
For a half case of beer. Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, I understand. I'm with you.
Oh, man. Terrible.
Oh,
well, you're on. And you know what?
What?
If Xhekaj is back in the NHL within 10 days, I'll happily give you some beer.
Yeah. We'll do a half case on it again. I feel like these beer bits of the week are getting higher, but we're only doing a podcast every 2 weeks, so we can afford to put the stakes up a little bit.
Oh yeah, high stakes now.
Yeah.
Next season is going to be even hard.
Case of beer.
Dozen beer. That'd be sick.
Look out.
2-4.